trying to stay strong. Doctors and paperwork, so much to face, but here you found a safer place. You're not alone, we're standing by your side, helping you through every twist in the ride. With knowledge, care, and a voice that's true, the Disability Digest is here for you. We've walked the path, we've heard the fight, we know the pain that hides from sight, but every story matters.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live event. If you are here with us live, it's good to have you. And if you're catching the replay later, we are glad that you made time for this. And as we go through today's discussion, please feel free to drop um, your comments and questions later in the comment section below, and we are also going to be posting our Zoom link, so those of you who wanted to join us live and ask question live later, we would also give you the time and the chance to join us. So just a quick note, today's session is for educational purposes only and doesn't create any representative client relationship. And if you haven't met me before, my name is Nadine. I'm with the Disability Digest, where we focus on helping people better understand how to navigate the disability process and make informed decisions. And of course, joining me today, Mr. Brian Terrian, our CEO and founder of the Disability Digest, who will be leading today's discussion. And of course, Philip Price, he works closely with us and with individuals navigating this process. And he leads one of the biggest community in Facebook, most supportive community in this space. So
Huge.
if you're not yet part of his Facebook group, then you're missing half of your life. So join now.
No joke.
No joke.
No, no joke, not an April Fool's joke. So thank you so much for being here. Brian, the floor is
Thank,
yours.
thank you, Nadine. Good to be with everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your day for this event. As Nadine mentioned, our focus here is to be a trusted resource for information to help you get approved, stay approved for your disability benefits. And so in the theme of today, which is April Fool's Day, I don't know if anybody celebrates it, but I am quite fond of it. I'm going to cover 6 myths that is kind of a spin on the concept. Myths in the industry of benefits that the general perception is that, from my 2 decades of experience, that people have. So hopefully I will debunk some of the myths that are out there so that you have information that will allow you to get what you're entitled to and keep it. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, and today we're going to do, at the end of this, we're going to have an FAQ. When Nadine mentioned you can enter your comment, which I see many of you already have in the chat, or also you could come in here and join us live. Nadine will put a link in the chat feature for wherever you are consuming this, except for you folks on TikTok. We haven't figured out how to do that yet. So, all right. So I'm going to cover myths for people that are at different parts of the process. Some of you may still be working. Some of you may be out on your disability approval quests, and some of you may be approved. And so the first one that I'm going to go through, and these are in no particular order, but this one is, frankly, for me, it's one of the most annoying ones, is that everybody gets denied at the initial application. I refer to this as the advice from the brother-in-law who knows somebody who at one time applied for disability and they got denied. So he tells everybody this. So here's the deal. Not everybody gets denied at the initial application, and the statistics from the Social Security Administration are, on average annually, 1.9 million people apply for their disability benefits. 687,000 get their benefits. So that's not everybody getting denied. Now, I know internally when we work and we represent people that the numbers of approval at initial application are substantially higher. So that's not true. You can definitely get approved at the initial application, and that's the best place to get approved because you get your money quicker. And if you don't get approved there, it's going to become very expensive for you because you have to go to a hearing likely and a full fee and representative fee. So that's one. Myth number two, you need to hire somebody to get this done for you. And that's not true either. There's literally thousands of people that have come here to the Disability Digest since we started in June of 2006 that have used our disability approval course. There's no charge for your membership. There's no charge for the disability approval course. They've done it all on their own, and they've saved the representation fees. The key is they've done it. People that go into the disability approval course have good intentions of doing it, but they don't, and then they get annoyed because they end up getting denied and they had the course. So, different thing. So, you can do this on your own. You don't need to hire somebody. I think what's important for people is to really evaluate your own situation and what's best for you. I mean, do you have a condition that allows you to manage the process to understand and execute? If you do, or you have somebody in your family that can help you, then that's perfect. But if you don't, then perhaps it's going to make sense for you to hire somebody to help you out and do this work. So anyway, either way that you choose to do it, we encourage you to use the disability approval course, especially if you hire somebody, because you can see what's supposed to be done each step of the way to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to get you your benefits. All right, so one more thing on this. This is probably an item 2B. The single most important factor in getting your disability benefits is often misunderstood. It's a myth. And if, like, let me see if there's some questions out here. Usually people have questions like, I've got degenerative disc disease, I have arthritis, I have a torn rotator cuff. They're going to talk about their conditions. And that's why the denial rates are so high in this industry. It's not just me. You can listen to some of the experts that are here. So the myth is what people think is important for them to get approved is the actual condition, but it's not. It is how that condition limits your ability to work. So that's really part like 2B of the myth. All right. You're allowed to work if you apply for disability. That is true. That is not a myth. Where there's some confusion there, and I could say that I actually probably caused some of it, frankly, is that the regulation allows you to work and earn money while you're going through the approval process. But either myself and the other industry experts that I network with, it's just really hard to get these cases approved. Even if you're like, earning a little bit of money, like hobby amount, like $400 or $500 a month, it just gives Social Security that angle to question, like, all right, well, you're doing some work, you're making some money. If you had like different treatment, different job, you could work. So that's the double-edged sword with that working while you're going through. The next one is Social Security is always watching you. Not true. Not true. They're definitely concerned about you because they're in the business of, like, yes, they do issue benefits, but they are very aggressive with the continuing disability reviews. But they're not always sitting outside your, on your street in a black van with with a cap on and glasses. They do that. They do that, but they're not always doing that. So, yeah. Okay. This one is expensive. 133,000 people on average each year lose their benefits. And it's in large part because of this myth. Once you get approved, you're approved. Approved means you're done to a lot of people, and they treat it that way. You don't have to do anything, but that's not it. if you read that award letter, that piece of paper, which a lot of people just read the first two sentences and they're like, woohoo, you have to stay in treatment. They're Social Security is expecting you to continue to see your doctors, have your conditions treated, and despite those two things, still have the limitations, right? So the set it and forget it is really expensive. So you'll get a review, and with that review, they're going to ask for your doctoring, and if there's a void there, that's where it really starts to get problematic for you, right? Um, all right, I'm bouncing around a little bit here, but there is a myth about doing it yourself to apply for disability benefits that save money. And you can. I don't feel that anybody should have to pay for any legal services if they don't want to, and that's why we have a membership at no cost and a course. But if you do it yourself, there's a difference between just submitting your information into Social Security and actually building an application. And that's where the general population, in my opinion, is somehow unfortunately misled. Just submitting your information to Social Security really on a scale of 1 low, 10 high as far as doing something is like a 2. All they see is your doctors and your medications and they request your medical records. There isn't anything pressing that's going to separate you from the other 1.9 million that are out there. So if that's all you're going to do when you do it yourself, you're not going to save any money. It's highly likely you're going to be one of those that gets denied. And then you're not saving money because you're going to have to go to a hearing likely, and then you're going to pay full fee for representation, 9,200. Most people that do it right at the initial application and get approved, their back benefit that they end up paying a representative is like half that. It's around $3,500, 4,000. It's in that range. And that's, based on a $2,000 check and like $16,000 worth of back benefits. That's the data that we see. So you have to really think about, your move here if you're going to do that, right? Okay, so, oh my God, I'm through 6 already. That was no joke. Fun. So let's do this. Nadine, I'm going to turn it over to you for a Q&A, and you can manage it. I know, Philip, you've got some stuff I expect that you want to get addressed from your group. So away we go.
Yeah, sure. So before I pass on the microphone to Philip, I got a question here. This is from an email in our support. Um, the question is, I want to know more about the judge that is conducting the hearing with me, and when should I speak with my attorney, non-attorney representative before I go to court?
Okay, so we have two questions, a judge
Mm,
question and
yep.
then a preparation question. All right.
Hmm.
So the judge question, there are public, like I can see information on a judge. And one of the things that I encourage people to think about is you want to do everything you can not to go to a hearing. And not just because it's going to take you a long time and you'll end up paying the maximum fee, but there are judges that have approval ratings that are 19, 21%. And there's other judges, not many of them left anymore, that are in the 55, 60% range. So you could have a wonderful case, and it's happened. I feel so bad for these people. They end up with a 19 percenter, and you really just need to be terminal. And they're not, but they can't work, and that's the unfortunate thing with the disability process. And I'm just I'm just the messenger here. They all have the same rules. It's just in how they interpret them. So if you're working with a disability representative, they can get you the approval percentages. I don't pay much attention to those because I look at it this way with people that we work with. If they can't work and it's legit and we believe it, which is why we would choose to work with them, then they get a fair shot. So that's my take on that.
All right.
Oh, there's a second part to the question.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Preparation. Um, So people work in this process different ways. So I can't speak for how other individuals do this, but here at the Disability Digest, I'm going to address it this way. Before we started representing cases internally, we had our members referred to other disability representatives throughout the US, some of the larger ones. So I had the opportunity to observe and how they work and how they prepare people to go to hearing. Not all of it was good, but basically the model that we use is one that most use, which is for the hearing, there's preparation process of updating your medical records so that you can see from when Social Security requested the medical records from that date. Let's say it was June of 2025 was the last date. You request medical records to fill the gap. And let's say the hearing is next month. So you want to get those medical records in, and you do it like about 5, 6 weeks before the hearing. Then you have the full medical picture. That's one. I'm going to answer the question, but I want to give you like the whole context here and what the industry does and how things work. So then the evidence is in the file, and then the file is reviewed by the legal team, and most representatives that do a good job understand the general case theory, like what the premise is of getting this benefit case approved. But the medical records are going to provide you with updated information. So then you write a legal brief that's going to go to the judge. And that's usually done here anywhere from 12 to 15 days before the hearing. And it's all submitted. Everything needs to be submitted to the judge 5 days before the hearing. So all of that stuff is done. And then, so to answer your question, the strategy that we have found most effective is 10 days, even around the 4 or 5 day stage is the best time to meet with somebody to prep them for their hearing. When I say, and that's the representative that's going to work with them in court. Here's why. If you meet with them earlier, which we've done, they forget it. And if they forget what their position is and what their role is, then that's not good. You've waited all this time. Second thing is the representative that works with them in court, anybody who's good at this does lots of these
Yeah.
reps. So if they're meeting with you, prepping, and it's too far out and the case is not relevant and it's not like right, current in their workflow, that's not good. So for those two reasons, well, I gave you more than two, is why what we have done that's been effective and help us get disability benefits approved. Now, I get it. People are like, I want to talk to somebody. I really want to, right? So in advance of that, I mean, we're here doing this, and there's other preparation steps that, you know, videos, audios that we have that are out there. So, but the core thing is remember this, is you want to get it close enough to your hearing so that it's relevant information and your role is minimized ideally in court. And if you don't remember what your role is, then you're going to start, just talking out of turn, not saying the right thing. It goes downhill. Man, that was a rant. Sorry about that, but I felt that was necessary.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I spoke to a lot of people as well, wherein they would want to like speak with their attorney, like let's say a month before the hearing, and that makes sense. Like you might forget whatever it is that you've prepared for, and
Yeah. Yeah.
all your efforts would just go away. So yeah, that makes
Yeah, I
sense.
think speaking to somebody is fine, but when you want to get right into the nuts and bolts of like what the case theory is and the brief and all that, yeah, I don't know how you do that without having all the medical records on file, which
Yeah,
takes time. So,
agree.
yeah.
All right, so I'm now going to be posting a link in the comments so that those of you who would like to join us live right now and ask your questions, then you would be able to join. And while waiting for someone to join us, I'd like to give the floor to Philip for the questions from his group.
Certainly. Normally I start out with a list of questions that I go through or write down first thing before our meetings. But here's one I just came across that's going to be pretty good for Brian to address. This is from Lynn from my Facebook group. She says, I'm a little confused and hoping for clarification. Many Disability Digest videos mention that people often apply too late and that applying too early is rarely the issue. However, in the video from 2 years ago with James Mitchell Brown from the Disability Digest, he suggests waiting at least 4 months out of work because applying too early can lead to a denial. Can you help clarify how to reconcile these perspectives? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good question. And so if we ran the numbers because this is not new from Attorney James Mitchell Brown. He's been guest speaking here for like 3 years. And so we actually looked at the applications that go into the system, like in months 1, 2, and 3, and the approval rate was like atrocious. It was like 9%. But if you wait until like the month 4 or 5, very similar cases were different. That's what we experienced. And so he is right. He's been doing this for what, 52 years. So I want you to think about it this way. What you're attempting to prove is that you cannot work. And if you just get out of work, like you're out of work for a month or two, yeah, you can apply. But is that convincing to Social Security? Now, if you had something massive, maybe there's some outside exceptions, but let's take a stroke or a heart attack. You need to be able to prove that that condition is going to last longer than 12 months. Now, you can recover from some strokes, hopefully from heart attacks. So that's where the dilemma is for Social Security, is that if they see somebody that's had a good job, consistent medical record, they've been out of work, they've been consistently treated for like 4 or 5 months, and they just can't get back in the game, that's a lot more convincing than, the alternate.
Yeah. All right, next question is, hi, I was just approved for disability, but they are pushing papers and seems like doing everything they can not to pay out my back pay. They just requested a copy of a 7-year-old workers' comp settlement. What
Oh,
kind of relevance does this have to my disability?
yeah. So there's offsets, and a lot of people aren't aware of this. If you have a work comp settlement that you received a lump sum of money for, depending on what the settlement was and how much it was, it's going to offset your back pay. So what they look at, I'm not sure if 7 years is like too far out. I don't know this area extremely well when it goes that far back, but let's say it was a year ago. I know that's relevant. Excuse me, I'm all choked up on this one. And you received $10,000 in a settlement for work comp, just a small settlement. Well, that $10,000 would be reduced from your Social Security back pay. So that's what they're going to evaluate and look at. And they also do that with Medicaid. If you received like cash, Medicaid subsidy throughout the process, so it's an offset. Yep, be polite, persistent, give them the information they want, do your best to accommodate so you can speed it up. And I see there's two that are waiting to come into the room. Just hang out. Mitch and Doug, we'll get to you in a minute.
All right, next one says, I was just approved for disability. I have a special needs daughter who is 28 and receives disability. She has never been able to work. Will she receive additional Social Security benefits from mine now?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm thinking that when my husband was disabled, she did, but I can't remember.
Yeah, because over 18 and is already receiving some benefits. I don't see any angle there from what I have been informed.
Okay. All right, it says if you have legal custody of a grandchild, can he draw money off me?
How? Like disability recipient, if they have custody? I think where there may be an opportunity here, if you have a child, that it's your child, and it's not clear to me if custody falls into having it be your child under 18, then they could get a percentage of your disability check up to the family max. A lot of kids questions today.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm sorry to be vague, but I mean, it's not my area of expertise. I do the best to give you some insight, but our forte has been helping adults get approved and stay approved. But if I can give you some insight, I'd be glad to do it.
Says today I called for SSI. They gave me an appointment for an interview over the phone. Do they not mail out applications anymore?
Not that I know of. There is a paper application for disability benefits. You can find it online, fill it out, and send it in.
Oh, there was two parts to that question. I'm sorry. It says also they want a list of medications. Is that the meds I'm taking now or previously? I don't know all the dates or the doctors I've been to. Do they want past and current doctors or just current? Lastly, should I tell them that I filed previously so they can look at that to get information from?
They're most interested in the last 12 months. What I would suggest the listener do is come into the Disability Digest, go through the process, speaking with an advocate, get in the disability approval course in section 1A. There's a step in there. It shows you exactly what's in the initial application in a video, what information you need for your doctors, for your medications, for your work history. And then you can take that. The intent is to guide you into filling out your own online application if that's the direction that you want to go.
All right, Nadine, that's it. If you want to get to those people waiting in the waiting room.
We're
Sure.
down to Mitch.
We're down to Mitch, and thank you so much, Philip, for asking those questions from your Facebook group. So I'm letting Mitch into the room right now. Hi, Mitch.
Hello, Mitch. You're muted, buddy.
You're muted, so I'm gonna ask you to unmute. All right. While we wait for Mitch to unmute himself,
Mitch is here.
oh, he's here.
He's in the house,
Hello,
Mitch.
Mitch.
Hi. How can we help you?
I don't know if my camera's on. It's supposed to be on.
It's not, but we'd love to see you.
How do I turn the camera on?
Well, the same way that you found the microphone button, there's a camera with a line through it, the red line. If you click on that, then that will do it for you. But you can start your question with your camera off and respect the time. Here you come. I think
I think we got it. I see the light come on here. There we go.
There you are.
Oh, there you
right
go.
on. Thanks for joining.
You were playing April Fools on us there for a little bit.
Yeah. How can we help you?
All right, I got a real simple question here. Let's see here. I've been on disability almost 3 years. I lost both my legs. And I don't see my doctor anymore because every time I go see my doctor,
I got part of that. I think you froze. I heard you don't go to your doctor anymore, and then
okay, you can hear me. Okay, yeah. They just take my blood pressure, they weigh me, temperature. So I don't have any doctor's notes. because having no legs, it takes hours to get to the hospital where, where
You're breaking up, but if you can hear me,
hold
I have the answer to your
okay,
question.
now this is all better. I got it working now. Okay, so I don't go to me, take my temperature. Make, okay.
So this would be my suggestion. You are expected to be in treatment. I'm not Social Security. I'm just giving you the message, Mitch, right? So if you with your situation, what a way that you could address that is see if you can work out an arrangement with your doctors to have like a visit that is like less frequent, but you're still going. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I go about every 3 to 6 months.
Oh, all right. I mean, you're still going to the doctor then. I thought you weren't going at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, instead of doing it with like she would like every month to bill my insurance, I do it about every 90 days to 180 days.
Yeah. Um, I mean, if that
The only
complies,
reason I had I'm
if
sorry, the
that
only reason, Brian, I had a gap is because the Plan B Medicare came in and mixed with Medicaid, it became a billing issue where they wanted a huge deductible. And then I got that fixed.
okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, this just have you received a review yet?
No, no,
Okay.
but I'm terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, well, that would be my take. If you're at 90 days, every 90 days doing that, then that's one thing. And the other thing that I would focus on is even though it may be glaringly obvious, you think, Mitch, to the doctors, is understand your limitations and communicate those in every visit. And the reason why you want to do that is when a review comes up and they go into your medical records, they don't have a visual of you, right? But if they see the limitations in your medical records, that provides a lot of clarity real quick.
Okay.
Make
So do
sense?
you think I may get a review in the future or I'll just stay under the radar?
I have my crystal ball, I can't find it. So everybody is subject to a review, even if they have a condition that has no medical improvement. That's just the way the deal works. So I I would just do this. I tell people just have the mindset that you're going to be reviewed and focus on what you can control, which is you going to the doctors every 90 days and getting your limitations into your medical records in every visit, making sure they're in your portal notes and your medical records. Maybe check that once every 6 months, once every year, just make sure that you're in sync. That's, I mean, if you just do that, for me, it just takes care of everything. It's the best insurance that you have. Then you get that piece of paper and say, I'm ready. Come on.
Okay. I thank you, both of you, everybody here for your time and your
Of course.
Yeah.
consideration. God bless you.
Well, God bless you. We thank you for joining, Mitch. Stay in
Thank,
touch. All
Thank
right.
you.
Mitchell.
Thank you.
thank you. Bye bye. All right. We still do have a couple of questions here from the comments, Brian. And
Yep.
let's start with this one. It says, how can a pro se claimant best ensure that an on the record request and pre hearing brief receive proper and meaningful consideration, given that there is no specific category for submission like the OTRRQST option available to attorneys. Additionally, would it be appropriate or advisable to use Form SSA 795 to alert the ALJ that an OTR request and brief are included among the submitted documents. I've been told by the Office of Hearings Operations that when requesting an ALJ hearing, cases are given a default OTR viability review, but that but that this review is often cursory and not always taken seriously. So how can a claimant avoid that outcome and ensure their OTR request is properly evaluated? Ooh, that was a long one.
That's a long one, and that's a really good high-level question.
Yeah.
I I don't know if there's a way to do that. And we recently had, I think it was Attorney James Mitchell Brown, we were talking about on the record decisions, and they're just, in the world that he lives in, I live in, they just don't exist. Now, I will say that we had one recently, but it wasn't from a brief. It was from a dire needs situation. We briefed it with a dire needs situation and sent it in. And it was scheduled for a hearing and it was approved without going to a hearing. But that's like one, and I can't think of one other one in like the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't know how to do what is not being done, I guess, is what I'm saying. Great question. And if you figure it out, boy, we'd love to hear from you
Yeah, let us know.
for sure. And all hearings are briefed. I mean, the key is the brief is back to what I had talked about earlier in preparing. There's a brief that's prepared. It's sent into the judge. The opening statements based on the brief and the hearing flow. It's all there. But that's all I have for you on that one. Great question. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, another one here. How do I notify SSDI that I am working without causing any concern?
Yeah. I don't know how much you're working. Is there any indication in there?
Nope, that was the only question.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
here's how I would address it. Contact them and say that you're working. And most people that are in our audience, I encourage them to start part-time, and see how their body performs. So I'm just gonna address it from that perspective and contact them because that's what your responsibility is in your award letter. Tell them you're going to be working. Now, if you know exactly how much money you're going to be making, like if you're going to be making like $400 or $500 a month, then I would say my hope is that my health will hold up so that I can earn $400 or $500 a month. That's what my plan is. That's really the simple statement. And if you're gonna like totally hit the gas and you want to go back to work full time, then you tell them that I'm going to go back to work full time. I'm going to see if I can make it. And that full time from zero to full time right away, the chances of success for that are like really like low. So I hope that's not the case.
All right, next question. I think this is more of a suggestion than a question. This is from JC. He said, that was a great chat with James Mitchell Brown regarding the 50-year analysis of changes. Can Brian do a similar video analyzing the last 20 years? It would be great to learn from his perspectives.
Thank you. I could, but feel that Attorney James Mitchell Brown's memory is much better than mine. And I'm going to say there's a few years I wish I probably should remember. This is great work, but it's not always
Yeah.
easy. But thank you. That's something to consider. Yeah.
Yeah.
What the changes are. I mean, I, I don't know, like for me, if you're talking about like all the administrative changes and all that, which, or if there's some other perspective that could be provided, um, that would be helpful if you've got more to add to that.
Oh, yeah. Another one here from Sean Bailey. Is it okay to contact SSA to see or ask about the status of my application? I'm currently in step 3.
Yeah. I mean, if you're managing your own case, the approach would be, in my experience, this. You want to be friendly. Hi, I'm calling. I just wanted to see if there was anything that is missing on my application or anything that I could provide you. Or maybe you sent something in recently, like you got a really good RFC that says you're going to miss 3 or more days of work a month. And that was sent in. You're just calling to find out. So it's a helpful. I discourage you from calling in saying, I haven't received my decision and it's been 6 days since I applied. I just wouldn't encourage you to do this. So you want to be polite and be mindful of how frequent you contact them. We have one person that, despite the fact that we told them not to contact Social Security that much, they have been just like hounding them. And this is an individual that is now, I think they're over 24 months at the reconsideration stage. So you don't want to annoy them. You want to be helpful. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Another question from Airsoft American. He said, in my case, my lawyer had to get after I was denied, said my case is being assigned. What does that really mean? Being they have all my information and up to date on medical limitations. Thank you.
I don't know. Am I misunderstanding or not understanding the
In my
question?
case, I'm also not understanding the question.
Oh, you know
I will
what?
They're asking about assigned to a
assign to.
adjudicator
Yeah, what does that mean?
Assigned to a judge?
or adjudicator.
Yeah, that could be it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so if it was denied at reconsideration or in a state where there's no reconsideration, it's going to a hearing. I expect that's it. Yeah. And the hearing process, you can go out online and you can find out what the wait time is, but you've already been in it. It shouldn't be that long because
Mhm.
there isn't a significant wait for a hearing now. So significant meaning like 8 or 10 months. There were times when it was 24.
Oh, all right. Yeah, those are all the questions that I have on my plate.
Good,
So, mhm.
good. All right, great. Well, listen, everybody, I thank you for taking time out of your day today. And if you're celebrating Easter this weekend, have a blessed weekend, good time with your family. We are here every 2 weeks with a live event. And then, if you haven't tuned in to our YouTube channel, we put out, frequent messages about things that will either help you keep your benefits. Like right now, we just put out information because gas has gone over $4 a gallon. What's the price of gas in Texas,
Oh,
Philip?
It's right at 350, 375.
350, yeah. Well, you have a lot of extra down there anyway. That's probably
Yeah.
why it's so low.
Old,
Um,
old town. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So at any rate, that's what's going on here. So I thank you for joining. And if you're new here and you're not a member and you're looking for information to help you get approved, stay approved, we invite you to come join us as a member. You get to talk to some of our wonderful advocates and you get courses that will help you get from where you're at to where you need to go. Maybe it's a support group like Philip has an amazing support group for individuals going through the approval process. You can connect with others in there, commiserate about the process or celebrate, or whatever your choice is. Um, so we have different things to help you out. So that's what we do here at the Disability Digest. All right, back in 2 weeks. Nadine, Philip, as always, thank you for being most excellent co-hosts. I appreciate your effort here. All right.
all right.
All right. See
God
y'all.
bless everybody. Be well. Make it a great
Happy
day.
Easter.
Happy Easter.